The first night I realized something was wrong in my new apartment happened while I was unpacking a box of silverware and heard the muffled sound of my own voice echoing from somewhere inside the walls. It wasn't a playback from a device, and it wasn't a neighbor repeating me. The voice was mine, same tone, same pacing, but off by about 5 seconds, like the building itself was repeating everything I said, or maybe recording it, or maybe learning it.
None sent by Marcus H., Raleigh, North Carolina.
The building was old in the way cheap apartment complexes get old fast. Water-damaged corners, carpets that hold decades of tenants' lives, and walls so thin you can hear the changes in people's breathing. But it was all I could afford. The place had a reputation for eccentric neighbors, according to the leasing agent. I didn't think much of it until I started noticing nobody made eye contact in the hallways. They'd press their backs to the walls, hold their breath, and squeeze past me as if afraid I'd touch them. They weren't being rude, they were being careful. The first sign, other than my voice replaying from the walls, happened around midnight when the air pressure in the apartment changed. There's no other way to explain it. The temperature dropped sharply, but not like a normal draft. It hit me in pulses. Cold, warm, rapid cycles that made the air feel like it was breathing. My phone screen flickered, then turned on by itself, recording a video with the front camera pointed straight at my face. I wasn't touching it. It just started recording. When I reached for it, the pressure dropped again, and the recording stopped. The video saved automatically, and when I played it back, I saw something impossible. Right as the camera flickered, my reflection didn't move with me. For 2 frames, maybe 3, it looked directly at me with a face that wasn't quite mine. My same features, but expressionless, as if it didn't know how humans use their facial muscles. I tried to rationalize it as a glitch, but the feeling of being watched didn't fade. The next day I asked the woman in the unit beside mine, an elderly lady who always had her TV blasting, if she'd heard anything strange through the walls. She stared at me with a kind of nervous pity and said, "It's not the hearing, it's the copying. Don't let it learn your routines." I asked what she meant and she shut her door immediately. I could hear her whispering prayers behind it. That afternoon I realized the building's Wi-Fi network was broadcasting a device named Marcus H. Line. Even though I hadn't set anything up, my phone automatically connected to it, despite being password protected. When I checked the network activity, I saw dozens of short audio files, all time-stamped from the night I moved in. The files were named in a pattern.
Pulse Terabiyama.
Pulse Dodo, 40, Pulse 3 Emperor. When I played them, each one contained the same sound. My breathing. But not normal breathing. These were frantic, shallow breaths I didn't recognize, followed by faint scraping. That scraping sound came again later that night, right as the air temperature shifted in its rhythmic pulses. It wasn't coming from the walls. It was coming from right behind me. I spun around, but nothing was there. The lights flickered and my laptop turned on by itself, opening a blank document. The keys tapped on their own, slow at first. "Hello, Marcus." I slammed the lid shut. The pressure dropped again, and this time I felt a presence pass by my left shoulder like someone brushing past me in a crowd. I decided to sleep in the living room with the lights on. Around 2 a.m., I felt the pressure change again. Cold, warm, cold. The ambient buzz of the appliances lowered in pitch, as if the electricity itself was being pulled downward. Then my phone, from across the room, played back my own voice, whispering a sentence I had never spoken. "Stop moving, it sees heat." My lungs tightened instantly. The pressure in the room grew heavy, like water filling the space. Something creaked near the kitchen, but I didn't dare look. When the air finally eased up, I crawled to the door, only to find it wouldn't open. The deadbolt was physically warm to the touch, like someone had held a hot hand against it for too long. The next morning, I confronted the building manager. I barely finished describing what happened before he cut me off and said, "You picked the wrong unit. Some apartments get contaminated. You can't give it attention. It hates that." When I demanded he explain, he whispered, "It amplifies whatever fear you give it. Fear is the trigger. Routine is the rule. The restriction is simple. Don't acknowledge when it mimics you. You do, and it escalates." "Escalates how?" I asked. He didn't answer. He just walked away. By the third night, the cycle was predictable. Every time I noticed the air pressure shift, Something electronic would mimic me. Sometimes my voice, sometimes a video, sometimes a notification that I didn't trigger. That night, around 1:30 a.m., I heard someone laugh outside my door. A soft male laugh. I looked through the peephole and saw a man standing totally still, facing my door. I recognized him. It was the neighbor from down the hall. He never spoke to anyone. Now he was laughing with a wide grin. But his chest wasn't moving, he wasn't breathing. After about 30 seconds, he stopped laughing and whispered, "It wants your night routines next." He turned and walked away, but something about his walk was skewed. One foot dragged in a way that didn't match human balance, like he was being puppeted. I didn't sleep. The next day my TV turned on by itself, displaying my own hallway camera. I don't have hallway cameras. The footage showed my neighbor sitting outside his door, staring at the floor, rocking slowly. The timestamp was from 2 days ago. At some point the footage glitched and I froze. In one frame, just a single frame, I saw myself standing behind him, even though I'd never been there. When the pressure dropped again in its rhythmic pulses, the footage rewound on its own and played the frame again. This time there were 2 of me in it. I slammed the TV off. The air pulsed harder. The lights dimmed. My phone vibrated with a notification. Pulse 98 Mem4A uploaded. I played it, stupidly, and the instant I did, the parasite took that as acknowledgement. I knew it the second the temperature shifted so violently I felt dizzy. The recording was me crying. It wasn't from any moment in my life. It was from a moment I hadn't lived yet. If you're enjoying these true horror stories, make sure to subscribe to Ultra Spooky and hit that notification bell so you never miss when we upload new nightmares. I grabbed my jacket and ran into the hallway. Every neighbor's door was closed, but I could hear whispers behind them. Fast, overlapping whispers, like multiple versions of the same person speaking slightly out of sync. My own voice echoed among them, repeating lines I'd said over the last 3 days, twisted with different emotional tones. As I reached the stairwell, a sudden gust of warm air hit me from below. A pulse. The next pulse was freezing, and with it came footsteps copying my pace 1 second behind. Down one flight, then another. The steps mimicked mine exactly, but with slight irregularities, like someone learning to walk by watching me. I burst through the exit door into the parking lot. For the first time in days, the air felt normal. No pulses, no pressure drops, no mimicking. I got in my car and drove until sunrise. I called the police, explained what I could without sounding insane. They checked the building. They found nothing. No devices, no recordings, no tampered locks. But one detail made my blood turn cold. They found my neighbor, the one who laughed outside my door, sitting in his dark apartment. Alive, but unresponsive. Just rocking, whispering something on a loop. When they got close enough, they heard what he was saying. I stopped looking at the screens, but it didn't stop looking at me. I moved out that same day. I never went back. But the parasite never really left. Now, when I'm driving or cooking or half asleep, I feel the air pressure in my home shift in those familiar pulses. Cold, warm, cold. I'll hear my phone unlock itself. Or a recording I didn't make. Or a video saved from a camera I don't own. Just last night, my laptop typed a message while I slept. "Hello again, Marcus." The signature scraping sound came after it. The sound that always follows the pressure drop. Right behind me. And this morning, when I checked my phone, there was a new file waiting for me. Pulse 424. It was the sound of breathing again. Not mine, but very close to mine, just slightly wrong.